Are you planning on voting the BLEEPIN Jeep Beast Wars? Before you do, there's a couple things that I need to say. Because before you cast your vote, I want to tell you why you should maybe consider voting for the three Amigos. You see, rumor has it that people who are voting for the contestants to get voted in for the Beast Wars are going to get more than one vote. Which means you might be able to vote for multiple teams, which is good because you probably already picked out a bunch of favorites, and it might be a little hard to choose just one. But if you vote for the three Amigos, you're actually getting 2 extra channels to watch, because the three Amigos is a team of 3 different channels. You've got myself, Thomas from Black and Blue Garage, Bob from Party Shop Shenanigans, and Caleb from Project XJ. We're all going to be filming the build of this 94 Isuzu Amigo, and so that should give plenty of coverage across all 3 channels about this super cool build. Of course, I'll be putting all of those videos, mine, Bob's, and Caleb's, in my playlist. By the way, welcome to Season 2 of Black and Blue Garage. My neighbors probably think I'm nuts. So, here's the cool thing about our 94 Isuzu Amigo build. The Isuzu Amigo, at least the one that we bought, is a 2-wheel drive. Those 2 troopers that you saw out there are both 4-wheel drive, and they take the exact same engine, at least one of them does. Back about 20 or 30 years ago, people were modifying these with a solid axle up front, either using a Jeep Wagoneer axle from the 70s, or I believe, or a pre-1986 Toyota front axle using leaf springs, links, whatever, what have you. The reason that you'd want to use a Wagoneer or a Toyota axle is because the differential is on the passenger side. And the transmission on the Isuzus that were 4-wheel drive were passenger side drop 4-wheel drive transmissions. So 1960s and 1970s K5 Blazers, which for the Isuzu Amigo are huge, will fit. And according to Dave Chappelle, who I spoke to while I was at Off-Road Games, the K5 passenger side drop Dana 44 will line up well with the Isuzu. Now, if it doesn't, obviously I'm not going to be mad at Dave. Today is a special day because it is the first official video of Black and Blue Garage Season 2, which is titled probably something Isuzu Amigo or Beast Wars build or whatever. I feel pretty confident in making Season 2 already because we're gonna build this thing whether we get voted in or not. So anyway, if all you wanted to know is information about the Beast Wars, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be more than 1 vote per person so that you can vote in a few favorites that you already know. We could definitely use your vote for the three Amigos because that's 3 channels, and we met just this year, and we came together and met for the first time to make the skit that you're about to watch probably tomorrow or the next video, I don't know. K5 full width axles for $300. It came with some wheels under a 1994 Isuzu Amigo that we bought for $750. I think I owe Bob $100, by the way. Is gonna make for a really cool build. Get the engine running, do some cool things with some axles and some leaf springs, do a roll cage, do some seats. I'm thinking I know a way of getting a 3rd seat in there, but that'll be a surprise for you guys. I've got to bust these axles down and figure out what's inside of them, because in the next couple of videos, I need to take this over to my friend Zach Boline's house, because he has some parts that he will sell me for really dirt cheap to go into these, so we can get them geared correctly for 36-inch tires, 35-inch tires, whatever. While I was at Off-Road Games, I ran into Josh Shine, and he told me that in Tennessee, most of the off-roading there is slippery rocks and mud and leaves and just loose everything, and it's humid sometimes. If it's hot, it's humid, because unlike here in the desert, everything on the east side is wet. And so the Milestar Patagonias that work up here, and the BFG KMO3s or whatever they're called, and even the Maxxis Razors probably that I have on my Jeep Comanche are probably not going to work on Tennessee trails. Because of that, he said that the tires they had on their Jalopy, which are from an ATV, a side-by-side, whatever, they're 35 by 10 by 15s, which is exactly what we want for, you know, a Isuzu Amigo build. Actually work pretty dang good for the mud and everything, because they're soft, they're sticky, and they'll support up to like 1,000 pounds per tire. And they put it on, you know, their Jeep XJ, be it that it was cut down to like an engine and axles, did really, really well. So I think what we'll do is probably tape those wheels up on the inside, which is an age-old trick. People have been doing it for like 40 years. Throw on some ATV wheels that we can find for cheap off the marketplace maybe, and that'll be a pretty cool build. I think that this thing, even though it's like a 2.6 liter 4-cylinder engine, it'll be like around 3,500 pounds and it'll do really well. So if you see the 3 Amigos in the Bleepin' Jeep voting video, go ahead and write down the 3 Amigos, or Black and Blue Garage, or Party Shop Shenanigans, or Project XJ. We'll also accept Project MJ, JLU, TJ, ZJ, Project ESPN, Project USA. Caleb, I'm just kidding, buddy. It's Project XJ. If you vote for the 3 Amigos, I will promise you that this will be the most entertaining non-Jeep Isuzu build that you have ever seen on YouTube. There might even be a couple more 3 Amigos skits. So that concludes my call to action portion of this video on to tearing down these big axles. My favorite thing about these axles is that they were $300. You can't find axles in Arizona for less than $300 for one, unless they're either incomplete or there's something wrong with them. Somebody want to explain to me what steering stabilizer does without saying the obvious, that it stabilizes the steering? It seems to me that if your steering is unstable, then you need to either balance your tires, change out your ball joints and stuff, or, you know, stay off the pavement. Forgive me, I'm just a little ignorant on the engineering of steering stabilizers. I know a lot of vehicles came with these factory, and I just a little confused, that's all. This axle is complete end to end. It's got a low pinion differential, which means that it's driving on the weak side of the gears, but since we're only going to be like less than 4,000 pounds for this entire vehicle, I don't think that's going to be a problem. This is already set up for leaf springs, and the perches on this axle are just slightly wider than the frame is on the Amigo, and so I don't think that we're going to have a problem. I will just, when I weld my brackets on, I'll just do them a little offset, unless I can find some cheap used Jeep Wagoneer leaf springs, which is what Dave Chappelle told me to use, because from what I've read after he said that is that they have an offset through bolt on the leafs, and that would probably put the leaf springs in a little bit on the axle, lining it up perfect with the frame. As far as convenience go, that would be the best. And thank you, Dirthead Dave, for that information. But if I can't find that, I'm probably just going to use the rear springs out of the Isuzu Trooper 2, because they are just an inch longer than the Wagoneer springs. And also, they are probably a little bit lighter than the Wagoneer leaf springs, especially because the Wagoneer came with like a big heavy iron block in it, either the Iron Duke, I believe, or a V8. I'm not very trivial on old Jeeps. Caleb could probably say what came in the old Wagoneers, because that guy, he can memorize all this stuff. He's like Rain Man for Jeeps. He's actually memorized like hundreds and hundreds of digits for the formula for pi. Anyways, I digress. Let's get this thing open. I'm not sure if this cover was a stock cover on this Dana 44. Being chrome, that might have been a thing to do way back in the day when I was just a boy. It was all about big round KC lights and chrome and all kinds of ugly stuff like that. Now, let's look at this tag here. Maybe that'll tell us what gears we have. 373 gears. That's really, really high gear ratio, so we're definitely gonna want to get some lower gears for this thing. Now obviously, I gotta do a really light build on these axles because we gotta keep the price down, but if we don't get voted into the games, I'll probably throw some parts at it. And if we do get voted in the games, I'll just wait till after, if no one buys the thing for $7,000, and I'll do a little upgrading later on. Use your pry bar hammer. There we go. It's like Christmas. Oh, that's bad. Look at that. Woo! Oh boy. I'm glad I opened that. It smells bad. It's got rust in it. It's got grease in it. Almost like. Oh man. It's so nasty. Okay, I'm glad I opened this up. We've got 373 gears, which is way not good. Let's get this turned. Lock this hub in so we actually can. Nice thing about this carrier is if we decide that we need to use it, it's completely open, which means if we wanted to do a mini spool, we could. But I think that a full spool for this, since we have to regear it anyway, a full spool is around $130. So it's pretty safe to say that we should just put a full-size spool in here. Let's snap a picture. We will send this, send a picture to Zach Bowline. That's gross. 73 gears. Well, we don't want to go fast. You might be thinking, why not just buy some Dana 60s from a Dodge or something with a passenger side drop and do some bigger tires? Well, for one, price is an issue. And the other reason is that, like, Dana 60s, 1-ton axles, or 14 volts and stuff like that, are really heavy. And I don't want to be moving those around the shop. I have trouble enough with these things. I would say that's probably a good 300 pounds. So we're talking going from $300 for axles and wheels to around $1,000 just for some junkyard axles. Plus I gotta remember that like I'm only rocking like 100 horsepower with this car. So really this is kind of like the perfect axle setup. So this is a GM 12 bolt truck axle, and inside this aftermarket cover is either going to be a open differential or a gov lock. So that's what we're gonna find out right now. See if this one is just as dirty. And I'm seeing open differential and some rusty brakes. That's good. Open differential means that we could either put a drop-in lunchbox locker like a Genrite or whoever makes those ratcheting disposable drop-in lockers, or swap out the whole thing and do a spool, or if we wanted to be really cheap, just weld up these gears and change this gear set out. This looks pretty nasty inside as well, which means that I'm gonna want to reseal everything in here. These little holes I've read are to get oil out to the bearings and the ends of this axle shaft, and to have good flow down the tubes to your bearings, you want to have a specific pattern in this. So this aftermarket pan, if we were driving this on the road at high speeds, on all flat ground, we would probably want to change this out for the one that catches oil and directs it to these little holes. However, since this is going to be a rock crawler or an off-roader, this axle is going to be tipping from side to side constantly. And so aside from the occasional like rip down a dirt road or whatever Matt has planned in his mad scientist brain for the Beast Wars challenge, if we get voted in, I think that this pan's just be just fine. As for this gear, I can tell this gear being as thin as it is and the massive size of the pinion, and assuming that this axle is in fact the matching one for the Dana 44, this probably has the 373 gears in it as well. I'll take a picture of this, send it off to Zach Bowline. I believe he has a set of 513 gears for this axle, for the Dana 44, which means I need to find a way to lock the front and the rear so that we can have off-road performance, and then I need to buy 513 gear set for the rear axle, and then reseal and bearing kits for both front and rear axle. The only other thing I can think of, running some new brake lines, probably, or seeing if these ones are going to be good enough. Checking on the drum brakes to make sure I don't need any new pads or shoes, because and I also need to figure out if I need to move these perches. I do have somewhere, if I didn't give them away, some spring perches, leaf spring perches that are longer, and they're anti-wrap and all that for the rear axle. Click. Zach Bowline is kind of like my advisor for my entire engineering and mechanical stuff. Him and Dylan have been a great help building the Jeep Comanche. So I will be taking these axles over to Bowline's house so that we can get these rebuilt. But first I need to order a bunch of parts for that. Now, once these axles are built, which shouldn't take that long, I will be actually working with Bob and Caleb up in Prescott, and that first video should drop probably the second weekend of next month. These axles, let's put a tape on these actually really quick, because I'm excited. Because yesterday I asked Bob if he would measure the total width of the body for the Amigo. Let me grab the wheels and a tape measure. These wheels have a pretty good offset on them, which is nice. I got 2 lug nuts. I need to find some lug nuts. These might be, I don't know. Gotta find out what size. Order those up. Oh, this is gonna be super wide. Look at these beautiful chrome rims. Deep dish, they're 10 inches wide, so providing that we can find the perfect size tire to fit these as wide as they are, these are the wheels we'll probably go going with because they were practically free. And oh, by the way, if you're gonna do the duct tape trick, you basically wrap Gorilla Tape or some duct tape around this bead. It makes it harder for the tire to pop off of there. Oh my goodness. This is long. It's almost as long as I am. All right, that's my workout for the day. Now, the Isuzu Amigo body, fender to fender, 70 inches. 70 inches is right here. 78 and a half. Let's say it's 78 inches. So these tires will stick out at least 4 inches on either side, which is good because wider is less tippy. It also means that with bigger tires, you'll be able to turn more because, as you know, bigger tires turning means that your end of your tread is closer to your frame. So if we're able to do some trimming and a little beating on it with some hammer, you know, trail style body work, this is going to work out really well. It's going to look awesome. And so on my Jeep, my tires stick out like 6 inches on each side and it looks amazing. And in fact, in Utah, we drove on the maze, which has a lot of like skinny places to go through and a lot of stuff where you're off camber getting close to rocks. I didn't touch a body panel or a door the entire time because my tires stick out so far. So this is going to protect the body. It's going to make the Isuzu Amigo more stable. It's going to look sick. This is what I'm going to be working on all summer, whether you vote on us or not. 1994 Isuzu Amigo with a third seat somewhere in the back. Do a bunch of really cheap mods. Try to keep it under less than $5,000. So, I know that you can't be more excited about this than I am, but if you are excited about seeing some full width axles be put on a 94 first gen Isuzu Amigo, then go on the BLEEPIN Jeep video, follow his instructions, and make sure that one of your votes is for the 3 Amigos. Bob, Caleb, if you're watching, and I haven't called you already, I'll get these axles ready as soon as I can. Then we'll get that engine running and do a couple other cool mods while the car is up at your place, and then we'll bring it down here and we'll get the suspension done and do a little bit of cage work. And you guys are invited to stay at my place. I have an RV parking for the travel trailer, and I also have a spare bedroom for Caleb and whoever else wants to come down. We'll just have a party for like a day and a night, like every other weekend. It'll be really fun. You should join us too, so you can watch us build the Amigo. Now, because YouTube has some really weird rules about you can't have I can't post a video and then say Bob or Caleb post the exact same video. So what we're probably going to do is try to do all the work together, aside from these axles, of course, and then have all 3 of us filming, kind of like Dave Chappelle and Grind Hard Plumbing did, where it's kind of the same video and the same project, except for you get multiple different perspectives. So you could watch my channel if you're already watching my channel, or if you're a new viewer, you can watch all of the Isuzu Amigo build footage for the Beast Wars on my channel, or if you watch Bob Pardee from Party Shop Shenanigans, you could watch it all on his, or you could watch it all on Caleb's, or you could watch it on all three because sometimes it's nice to get different perspectives. So a lot of people might actually watch this stuff. So if you own a company that has anything to do with winches, safety equipment, fire extinguishers, cages, seats, upholstery, seat belts, brake lines, auto parts, Isuzu, Suzuki, K5 Blazer axles, suspensions, links, leaf spring purchase, tools, Diet Dr. Pepper, welding equipment, dental work, and you would like to sponsor one of the teams that's building a project for the Beast Wars on BLEEPIN Jeep, then feel free to reach out to any one of us, as long as we have creative rights and ownership of our content. Kind of like an impromptu video for this weekend, but I am really excited about this build. Welcome to season 2 of Black and Blue Garage. I will be putting all of Bob Party's Amigo build videos and Calum from Project XJ's videos in the playlist for this season, so stay updated for that, and I will see you next weekend. God bless.